hawataweza kukupenda, hawataweza.
So fresh is on the beat.
Mbona do you have to be this way? Unajitoa from all the promises we made. You wanna blow up all the loving that we gave. Listening to
he said and the she said. Uongo za mjini zimenoga. Niamini na kupenda.
Ni wewe tu. Wakusema watasema,
usiku watalala. Hawataweza kukupenda vile ninavyokupenda. Amini hata dunia itashindwa na cha kusema. Na wakisema ni mapema kupenda tunavyopendana. Tutaishi kama Romeo na Julia kwa sinema.
baby achana na usiwasikize hao baby achana na usiwasikize hao
The city's full of haters, full of players. Wakutupiga sana, all they wanna break us. Usiwasikize hao, oh baby achana nao. Cause when we say ni forever, ni vow tunaweka. Mimi na wewe tu, let us go down in history.
Niamini na kupenda.
Ni wewe tu. Wakusema watasema,
Usiku watalala. Hawataweza kukupenda vile ninavyokupenda. Amini hata dunia itashindwa na cha kusema. Na wakisema ni mapema kupenda tunavyopendana. Tutaishi kama Romeo na Julia kwa sinema.
baby achana nao. Usiwasikize hao, baby achana nao. Usiwasikize hao,
baby achana na
City boys wanna break your heart. City girls, they just wanna have fun. Love you then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu. City boys wanna break your heart. City girls, they just wanna have fun. Love you then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu.
yeah.
City boy wanna break your heart. City girl just wanna have fun. Love you then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu. City boy wanna break your heart. City girl just wanna have fun. Love you then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu.
Yeah, naitwa Kolo. My name is Kolo. Yeah, naitwa Kolo. STL Mimo, let's go.
Flozz na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right. Flozz na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right.
Welcome to the most extravagant and elegant night of your life. I'll be your usher, yeah, you like it my way cause I'm right. I'll never do you wrong, and even though I might accept my apology in advance without a fight. Okay, magaga na upo asha odaka skuma, so hii wiki si tuko sawa, ugali na pia nyumba, mziki pia ni bomba, talanta aina domba, sakata rumba na kai na bamba, kidole cha gomba, wacha ni cross na wewe, dos na wewe, niringe kata usi na ni Flozz na wewe, usijali mini performer na nina mic moja, ngoja uone vile nina show na wewe.
Flozz na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right.
Hey, I don't know if you feel the same way that I do, cause I feel like my heart is pumping harder around you. So tell me, is it me you wanna be with? Please don't leave me hanging out. Oh my baby, come and meet me downtown, cause I'm done. Gotta make my number one. I don't want no other one. Up all night we see the sun, but I beat the beat goes on. Can't get over you, love you long time, yeah, dabadu. Kwangu wesi bronze, wala silver, labda dhahabu.
Flozz na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right. Early morning when I wake up, it's only you I seem to think about. You're my sunshine I'm longing for. Flozz na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right. Flozz na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right.
A shooby-dooby dabba-doo,
Flozz,
be my baby.
Flozz na wewe,
A shooby-dooby
kani picha
dabba-doo.
piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe, I will always do you right. Na wewe,
Naitwa Kolo,
Flozz, Flozz, na
my name
wewe.
is Kolo, it's Kolo, it's Kolo.
Alexis on the beat. Wewe nani unanipigia simu kama nani? Eti niachane mume wako nani? Unajua Nadia kweli mimi nani?
We ni nani? Unampigia simu kama nani? Hata utoe vya ndani, atarudi hapa kwangu tu nyumbani.
Anapenda vidogodogo, mwenzako anavimumunya. Mwanamke unapenda zogo, tafuta jambo hilo la kufanya. Oh, ni wangu, huyo nasema ni wangu. Oh, ni wangu, kubali yaishe ni wangu.
Oh, ni wangu, huyo nasema ni wangu. Oh, ni wangu, mwishowe ataisha ni wangu. Hivyo vimeseji na kuficha simu havinishtui. Atachoka nawe, wengine aende, yule hakagui.
Kelele ya chura haizui ng'ombe kunywa maji. Kwangu habanduki, kwako hatoboki, na kwa maana ye
Anapenda wife material, mwenzako anakudanganya. Mwanamke una kasoro, tafuta jambo hilo la kufanya. Oh, ni wangu, huyo nasema ni wangu. Oh, ni wangu, mwishowe ataisha ni wangu.
oh, ni wangu, huyo nasema ni wangu. Oh, ni wangu, kubali yaishe ni wangu. mwisho yataisha ni wangu. Oh, ni wangu. Huyo nasema ni wangu. Oh, ni wangu. Kubali yaishe ni wangu. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
This is Hendrik Sam.
Misikatai, unanidai, akiwalahi, ninaogopa sitadinai. I want you to lie, ni vile I'm trying to find good love, baby, baby, I'll be the one for you. Baby, maybe I'll be the one for you. I'll be the one for you. I'll be the one for you. Don't you take your love away. Take your love away. Don't you take your love away. I'll be the one for you. Don't you take your love away. Take your love away. Don't you take your love away. I'll be the one for you. The one for you. Mpenzi utangoja, yeah. Mpenzi utangoja, yeah, yeah. Sitaki we uchoke, yeah. Sitaki we uchoke, yeah. I'm trying to be the best version of myself. If you wait for me, I don't need nobody else. I'm trying to find good love, baby, maybe, and I'll be the one for you. Baby, maybe I'll be the one for you. I'll be the one for you. I'll be the one for you. Don't you take your love away. Take your love away. Don't you take your love away. I'll be the one for you. Don't you take your love away. Take your love away. Don't you take your love away. I'll be the one for you.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Alrighty, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Power Morning Drive Show with me, Wanyoike. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend the morning with us on the Power Morning Drive Show on Power Radio, where we definitely tune in, and yes, we definitely power up, because that is the only way to do it. All right, pretty excited that you can join us today. It's already Friday. The weekend is here, so I'm super excited. I always look forward to the weekend so that I can just take some time off from the hustle and bustle of the city and just, chill and spend a lot of time alone, just in silence. But I don't know what you have planned out for this weekend. Do let me know. I know that Sabasaba is upon us on Monday. Are you going to be going to the protest? And actually, a lot still happening across the country. Najua leo ndio kuko na mazishi ya Albert Ojwang. We will be talking talking a little bit about the drama that was seen yesterday when his body was being transported. And so, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot actually talk about. But just in case you're just joining us, welcome. This is the Power Morning Drive. You can get in touch with us on our social media handles. We are Power Radio across all our socials. That is PAWA Radio, Power Radio on Instagram. We are also on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as X. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel. That is Power Radio. And incidentally, or unfortunately, we've been hacked on our website. So we're currently suspending any live streaming on our website, but we are working to get it back on. So just kindly bear with us for now as we sort that out. So to give you a quick update on what to expect on today's show, we start off, of course, with the day's traffic updates because we need to get you to work. And then after that, we get into some news updates on what has been happening across the country. We talk about the, was he abducted? Was he not abducted? We'll find out about the Ndiangui puzzle, which actually that's the title of the Standard newspaper this morning. We'll be talking a little bit about the president's trip for Invest Africa Summit to London. Yep, you heard me right. He went there to talk about the minerals that we are rich in as a nation. Amid the country burning behind him, and who even would authorize President as him to come and address leaders from across the continent. Does he exemplify the great leadership? So we will also be talking a little bit about that. We will talk a little bit about the drama that was observed yesterday at Homa Bay over Ojwang. Definitely a conversation that you do not want to miss out on. But let me get into the traffic updates real quick, and then we can get into that conversation. Oh, and I should tell you that our conversation, where that this entire week, we've been focusing on sustaining the conversation post the June 25th protest, and it's been 1 week where we just reflect on the various tenets or consequences that have come out of the June 2024 protest, 2025 memorial protest as well. And today I am going to be joined by one and only advocate of the High Court of Kenya, Ebby. She's also a gender specialist, and we are going to be looking at the weaponization of the sexual assault against women protesters and what that does in terms of infringing on women's rights, on human rights, and also how it impedes on the democratic inclusion for women, absolutely disparaging the democratic it's a disparaging of the democratic participation of women, and how does that deflect right on the rights of women? And also we also get a little bit to talk about some of the social structures that might have peddled this further, like patriarchal violence, when it becomes a question of using patriarchal violence to thwart democratic inclusion for women as well. So it's definitely a conversation that you do want to stick around as we explore. But yes, we've had any questions for our guest today. She's already here. Start tweeting at us, start sending in your comments, and we will be sure to catch that as well. But for now, let me take a quick look at what is happening on our roads this morning. And we start off with, of course, the high and mighty Thika Road, Kamakawa. Drama starts at Survey today as you go towards town. Moranga Road is also not looking any different. Same madness, especially as you go into town. Wanyoike, nothing much to complain about. You guys are looking a-okay. I can also see that Lower Kabete Road is a little bit cleared out today. There's just a little bit of a snarl up there as you go towards the Silver Springs Police. Red Hill Link Road, it's slowly but surely moving. Nothing much to complain about over there. Let's see what's happening along Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road is madness. The madness starts from the Next Gen Mall as you go towards the Nairobi West Hospital. Same situation happening also along Langata Road. There's just a little bit of a snarl up there as you go towards the Western as you go towards the Western Hotel from Uhuru Gardens. There's also a little bit of a spill off from the T-Mall Junction as you go towards Raila Odinga Road as well. Valley Road, not too shabby. You guys looking A-okay as well. Let me see what is happening on Kiambu Road. Yes, Kiambu Road also sheer madness from DCI as you go towards Pangani is also looking quite busy. Same happening also along Limuru Road. The madness starts as you go towards the United Nations area as well. That's just a little bit of what is happening on the roads at a glance. In case where you are is looking quite busy, or in case you spot any incidents, kindly let me know so that we can let everybody else know as well. Let me now take a quick musical break. I'll be right back before you even take your next break. I'll see you there.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Tumekuja kupati DJ hebu weka traki tukule happy halafu tufungue sakafu sababu inabamba inashika wingu la tisa inatufikisha ukiachilia mahewa manze DJ unatubeba Kwenye dance floor, show us your what. Unanoki, hauchoki. Kwenye dance floor, hautoki. Unahisi, hii muziki. Unahisi, nameless na mimi.
It's nameless. Eliza, in conjunction with Ogopa. Tumekuja kuhakikisha kwamba speakers zinasikika. Hey yo mister, are you a member? Hey yo sister, wacha kulenga. Can't you see that I'm talking to you? Sasa weka mikono juu. Mr. Brother, wacha kuzuba. Ukisleki hautapata.
Fungua macho, floni yako. Cheza wimbo kama ni wako. Cheza wimbo kama ni wako. Sababu huu wimbo ni wako.
Iza hatucheki na watu.
Nameless hatucheki na watu.
Ma MC hatucheki na watu.
Ogopa hatucheki na watu. Unahisi hizi flow za Afrika. Unahisi kama unakatika. Can you feel this front till the rear? Can you feel this up in here? Boom boom ba. Boom 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 ba. Boom boom ba.
Ukikatika na hingoma. Just be cool as a cucumber.
Na tumekuja kupati, ambia wenzetu samahani, hawako nasi na tuko nao, basi wametupa mao, sababu inabamba inashika wingu la tisa inatufikisha ukiachilia mahewa manze DJ unatubeba
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night.
Power Radio.
They call me Chris to the Cantata. That's why they call me Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. That's why they call me Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. Yo, they say it's hard to compose a rhyme. I say you out of your mind or you full of lies. Then again, you could be the slow kind. I don't see how lyrics don't hypnotize. Why lie? The season has transformed. You got reason to be bored, so now you want more? I'ma serve you flavor that you can't afford. The bill about to get placed on your tempo. So don't even try to resist. Look at yourself bumping to the beat. Get up and get down with a G-twist. Forget the hater cause the fool's not on the list. Dig this, we came and we took over. Got the keys to the ride and we're not sober. We made an oath that we ain't gonna ride for you. So now it's hip-hop, ride us to the border. Huni Nani G, Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. That's why they call me Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. They're taking over my head, dog, they on the hustle. I'm taking over their bread, dog, I'm on the muscle. Try to be cool, but I gotta mumble. Better yet, after that, there's a big tussle. Quit them tears, boy. Dry your eyes, see the G going cheers, boy. Don't be mad, cause I say that you weird, boy. You kinda scared, so I see that fear, boy. Meditating on a cute shorty. Lean body, mean thighs like the chick bought it. Eyes set real tight like the all assorted. If she arresting my ass, then she got a warrant. I'm a legend in the living, and that's that. I grab objects of vices you can't touch. Read all comprehension is too much. Unawares is words that bring the wrath. Let's go. Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. Glad that you stopped by. Who are you? What's your business? Bye bye. I hate people that think that I wanna rise. Yet and still I'm the steel that will not fly. Ask why? I got this even better. On this planet I teach you before the chatter. What I compose gets better by the day's weather. That's why they call me Chris to the Cantata. Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. Huni Nani G. Huni Kantai Hajali G. Huni Mtu Mkali G. Tuliza moto kufani G. Yo. 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 That's why they call me. They call me Chris to the Cantata.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night.
Power Radio.
Right, welcome back. That is Chris to the Cantata. May his soul rest in peace. My producer is just telling me that he passed on in 2019. I didn't even have any information about this. It's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show with me and Wanyoike. Right. In case you're just joining us and you might want to engage us, do that. Hit us up on our social media handles. We're Power Radio across all social media platforms. Right. Now, a lot has been going on in this country of ours, our beloved nation. And so the next bit that we are going to get into is some of the news highlights that have been taking the country by storm. We review the dailies, and of course, on the cover page of the Standard newspaper, the top story there is the Diangui puzzle. Snatched or in hiding, software engineer Diangui Kenyagia reappeared in court after 12 days masked, shaken and silent, and should I add as well, shaved, because we had known him for his signature afro. Triggering relief, outrage and more questions than answers. Presented before Justice Chacha Mwita, Diangui revealed fears for his life and signs of trauma as DCI boss Mohammed Amin under court summons protested his innocence. Lawyers demanded answers on growing cases of enforced disappearances, with the judge barring Diangui's arrest and ordering a pause but not closure. The mystery deepens, and this is definitely a story that we are going to be talking a little bit later on as well in depth. And then we also have a story here on Homa Bay explodes over Ojwang. Tears turned to rage as slain teachers Albert Ojwang's body arrived in Kakoth village. Grief-stricken mourners hijacked the funeral, stormed a police station and torched it, chanting for justice and denouncing state brutality. This is a story that is highlighted on page 10 and 11 of the Standard newspaper. All right, let's see what is on the cover page of the Daily Nation. Revealed Ruto's 1.2 billion Kenya shillings church at State House. Now, President William Ruto, according to Daily Nation, is quietly overseeing the construction of a massive church. Yep, you heard me right. It's going to cost 1.2 billion shillings. Guys, you thought that we are out of the matrix. Turns out we just aren't. Within the grounds of State House, Nairobi, in a move that raises questions on the constitutional separation between church and state. Nation has seen detailed architectural designs and drawings of the imposing structure that is expected to have a seating capacity of 8,000 and cost hundreds of millions of shillings. Now, the question is it public monies? Is it taxpayers' monies? What exactly is the point of having a church during inside the grounds of State House? We'll get into that scoop as well. And then, of course, there's a story about Ojwang's killing, outrageous the storm and torch police station, and my god, it was a sea of people. That is a story on page 7 as well. Then just where was blogger and Diangui? Again, on page 6 of the conversation there about Diangui and, of course, the ongoing mystery yet to be uncovered. Then a story on politics. Opposition storms Raila base in scramble for 2024. Opposition bigwigs led by former DP Rigathi Gachagua and Wiper boss Kalonzo Musyoka seek a piece of the Western vote pie. And lastly, on the cover page of the Daily Nation, SHA members forced to buy drugs out of pocket. A story on page 3. Right. Now, let's just get right into it. This entire Diangui puzzle, man. And to just kind of give you just a little bit of some context here. So, he appeared before the court yesterday, and you remember that earlier this week, the justice who was taking lead in the Diangui probe, Justice Mwita Chacha, that is, did say that he had given the DCI boss absolutely 2 days to produce him either alive or dead. And so yesterday, of course, he appeared before the Milimani court in Stobnin. He looked quite, he looked okay, but there is a lot of questions arising from whether he was really in state custody. Had he been abducted? Why would somebody do this? And let me just read a couple of things that the Standard newspaper has been able to capture here. He says that it says that when he went missing on June 21st, the 35-year-old software engineer spotted an afro. He showed up in court yesterday with a haircut that struck some of his associates as strange. Some even joked that he could have been shaved using an axe. The man who has had the nation on edge over what many believed was a state abduction carried out by officers from the Directorate of of criminal investigations does not have any signs of torture, but his face tells of an ordeal, whether in police custody or self-imposed exile, which has disoriented him. Further on, there is a quote here. He does not have physical signs of torture, but he needs psychosocial support. We have asked him to stay away from social media and not to have a phone to contact people. This is according to the family lawyer. And let's actually listening to the family lawyer, Dhuku. He had a statement to give to the press yesterday after the ruling, and of course Chacha Mwita also on the same matter as well, and then we'll come back and discuss this further.
Is in the court, it's proper and appropriate that the family has time with him together and their advocates and take instructions and possibly have him treated. The second petitioner may be presented to the DCI officers to record a statement if need be, and it should be presented by his advocates, but he should not be arrested or detained until further orders of this court.
We are happy to say that after that order was made, that was on Tuesday, as we have communicated to court, Mr. Nyangui was able to contact one of his family members, and then to move a bit quickly, that is the manner in which he found his way to this court today, because we were able to process that and to advise him to come to court. The issue of being traumatized and whatever other issue that may have been discussed about his health, it's only him who can tell me, and once he tells me, I'll be able to communicate to court properly.
Right. So there you have it. You know, many questions are arising from this. First of all his things had been confiscated, including his phone. When Justice Mwita gave the call to DCI that he should show up in court by Thursday, the questions that are arising are, where did he get the information about it? And then he's also his lawyer has also said that he actually was in hiding because he feared that his life was in danger. And so then that becomes a question then. So where exactly was he? Are we seeing a case where we have not started slumping into playing around state machinery and state-devised, for example, abductions in the case of Diangui? And what would be the end goal here? Is it another tale of clout chasing? Is it that he was given money so that he could be silenced about what his ordeal was? Is it, there's so many things that are not adding up in this story. And so I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. But indeed, let's say that he's the one who, had decided that, you know what, I'm just going to hide. I'm going to make sure that I take matters into my own hand. Do you know how it might send a very bad precedent, set a very bad precedent for the other people that are doing this work of, for example, agitating against the state malfunction and against the state malpractices that are happening? If you have a case of somebody kind of trying to play along with the madness that we are experiencing, which would look like maybe abducting themselves, quote unquote, then it takes away from the legitimacy of the people that are doing actually the right thing. It takes away from the legitimacy and the credibility of actual bloggers who are doing the work of holding the government accountable and being critical of the ways that the government's shortcomings are affecting the bigger public, the larger public. But then the other thing is, of course, the story not adding up is the state having to do with this. Like, yes, they might have abducted him. He might have gone through some traumatizing things, as we've had countless times from people that have been survivors or victims of abductions. And then as the state knows how to do what it knows how to do best, which is buying its way out of injustice, buying its way out of impunity. You know, on Wednesday, I said that the state will always go out of its way to legalize impunity, right? To structuralize impunity so that they can protect themselves. So if at all that is the case, then we still need some answers, some more answers, and which these answers are, we might not be able to get the actual story, because what the media reports is almost, it's dangerous to say this, even me as a practitioner of media, but there's always many sides to the story that perhaps just never get to the public, to the public domain. And so we will still, and let's just end it there, because there's nothing, there's no answer. This is just an ongoing trail of mystery after mystery after mystery, and I really hope that it's the last of its kind, because it's just, we cannot afford to have a country where it's like everything is everything, you know. When you hear about an abduction case, there's another layer of has somebody abducted themselves, or is it another story of the state, you know, trying to impede on people's rights for over expression, and also the disparaging of constitutional rights, you know. So it's just, I have to leave that one there, because it's just so much mystery around it. Then we have a story about the Invest Africa Summit that is going on in London, and guess who is the guest speaker of honor? Yes, yours truly, the President, William Ruto there. Let's listen into some of the things that he was able to mention during the Invest Africa Summit happening in London on his trip, and then we discuss what does this portend for Kenya.
Minerals are strategic assets for global energy and digital transition. Beyond minerals, Africa is rich in renewable energy potential, and Kenya is a leader in this space. Today, over 90% of our electricity is generated from sources that are renewable.
I mean, if
Right. Welcome back. Right. So that is him there, speaking about the vast mineral-rich country that we have in this country, and I don't know what that. I'm not really sure what to even say to this, because first things first, you know, having looked at the past occurrences in the country, you would think that the first priority of a president is to focus on the conversations happening back home. I know that one of the things that came out from the budget was, you know, a big amount of money went into the international trips, and we are talking about a president that has taken over 50 trips within his 1,000 days after he assumed power. And then now the critics that listened into this speech were saying that, you can go and brag about the minerals that we have in Kenya, but first of all, why are you even talking about our business like that to former colonizers? You know, it's they would want to come here and to continue in their exploitation. But beyond even that, I feel like it's very pretentious to even have a conversation about the development of Africa and it happening outside the borders of the continent. So that's number one. Then number two, of all the African presidents that you guys would have picked, I don't think that you picked the right choice. It's really, I mean, I would even rather have a Cyril Ramaphosa there. I mean, he well, I'm not saying that he's perfect in his country, but just looking at the heightened extremities that we are experiencing as a country, the last thing that you want is having a very bad PR move, because first of all, I think that was a very bad PR move. I mean, the country is burning down, and all you can do is go out there and talk and give speeches to former colonizers, for lack of a better word, about how well we are doing as a country in terms of the mineral wealth and riches that we have. I mean, it just does not sit well with me. And yeah, it's a bad PR move. It's a bad look, absolute bad look. organizers of the Invest Africa Summit, please do your findings. Make sure that you are getting people that are even doing well in their home countries, because if you've been anywhere in the past 1,000 years of country, this country has just gone to the absolute shambles. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. And let me take a breather. When we come back, we start our conversation today. I really wanted to talk about the church building, or maybe I can just talk a little bit about that. Let me just talk about that actually. Right. So on the page 2 of the Daily Nation, there's a story about Ruto's 1.2 billion church project at State House. Now, President William Ruto is quietly overseeing the construction of a massive church within the grounds of State House, Nairobi, in a move to that raises questions about the constitutional separation between church and state. Nation has seen detailed architectural designs and drawings of the imposing structure, which is expected to have a seating capacity of 8,000 and a cost of an estimated 1.2 billion shillings. It is not clear if the cost will be met by the taxpayer, which I really have. I'm going to raise my eyebrows on that, because where else does the money for such private public entities come from? Then the cathedral-like building designed by Scare Architects Limited features twin crosses on its rooftop and tall, narrow, clerestory style windows flanking the central edifice. State House declined to respond to multiple queries regarding the ongoing project, which is already rising near the presidential helipads, as confirmed by recent satellite imagery. When President Ruto has previously stated publicly his intention to build a church to underscore his Christian faith, during his time as deputy president, he erected a chapel at the official taxpayer-funded Karen residence. He used it to host religious leaders while campaigning for the top seat ahead of the 2022 general election. However, the construction of the chapel drew criticism from some leaders who accused him of breaching the constitution. And the story goes on and on and on. So first of all, I'm a believer, if not anyone knows or anybody cares to know, I'm all for building churches, right? Don't get me wrong on that. However, when it becomes an issue of weaponizing religiosity, or when it becomes an issue of weaponizing religious beliefs against, to kind of hide under some of the things that you're doing, it becomes a problem. And I can see why the conversation about the separation of state and the church should be had. And actually, I'm going to have a conversation here soon about where does the state meet the church, and where does the church meet the state, and where we need to separate. Because if you remember that a big chunk of the, for lack of a better word, I would call it propaganda, but a big chunk of the reason as to why we ended up having the current president is because the church was very much a big part of rallying behind him. And there was a lot of conversation about, he is God's choice for our country. Do we still feel the same way 1,000 days after he's assumed power in office? Does the church still think that is still God's choice? Because, even the Bible says that you shall know them by their fruit. And if the fruit and the legacy of the current regime and the current presidency has been abductions left, right, and center, we are talking about over 60,000 bodies. People have been killed just out of protests alone. We are talking about punitive taxes. We are talking about just a completely disparaging of the constitutional rights, right? Disparaging of human rights. We've never seen. I mean, of course, we have seen, but like in terms of in our current day, this, I have to say, has been one of the toughest presidency that I have been able to live through. And so in terms of that, I still ask the church this question. what does accountability look like? Because you are the ones, I should say we, because I'm also part of the church. How does accountability look like when the rest of the country is fighting for justice? Do we just watch and sit back and look at things going the way they are going and thinking that now here we can separate the state from the church? Yet, the reason as to why we have to really have a conversation to scrutinize about this is because it is in the guise of religion and faith that the current presidency came into power. Yeah, so like I keep saying things do not go wrong, they start wrong. So and I'm not saying that starting with the church was a wrong thing, but I'm saying starting with weaponizing the church against innocent believers and giving them promises that God this and God the other, and then coming and weaponizing that and using church. You can build all the churches that you want. I have no problem with that, but if the churches that you're building are going to be a scapegoat of you pacifying yourself from the injustices that we have seen under your regime, if the churches that are going to be, if you're going to build churches so that you can sort of kind of deflect, because I also think this is a ploy to deflect. I mean, we've seen it with colonizers. They sent in missionaries first to sort of pacify us, and then they came in. The old adage goes that the cross was followed by the flag, that kind of thing. So yeah, more questions that I'm going to also come out with here. First of all, is why do we have church building inside State House? Okay, number one. Number two, ideally, by the way, on paper, if it would be absolutely amazing to see that what is consistent with the church is consistent with the state, because the church is pro-love, the church is pro-justice. Ideally, like I'm saying, in an ideal world, it would be nice to see where the state borrows from the principles of, for example, upholding truth, upholding justice. It would be really nice in an ideal world. But because Kenya is not ideal as is right now, I think that there has to be an absolute conversation about how do we navigate between what the state can do vis-a-vis what the church can do, and what is the nexus point of these two. But the questions that are arising, I was going to say, is this taxpayers' money? We do not know for sure. Then why is it that of all the places that we would have a church, why is it that it's being built on the grounds of State House? Is it a legacy thing? Then State House is not a house for only Christians, right? So if tomorrow we have a Muslim president, for example, would we allow them to have a mosque in there? If we had a Hindu president, would that mean that we will have a temple? So there's a lot of questions arising from this matter. And yeah, the State House is not a Christian, like it's not a Christian institution. Let's not get that twisted. So I know that he might, because of personal convictions, he wants to come out as a person that has a legacy that he will be remembered. He put out a chapel where faithfuls will come and meet. But yeah, that's not what State House is for. State House is for every Kenyan. It should symbolize every Kenyan, whether they ascribe to the Christian faith or not, And please, let's not stop using the name of God in vain. You cannot mock God. Just stop. It's a bad look. It's a really bad look. So let me stop ranting. We get into a conversation today. I am joined by advocate, creative writer, and just an all-round gender expert, Ebby Kemunto, or Kemi. We're going to be looking at the sexual assault that was disparaged against women by goons, right? Goons. Allegedly, reportedly hired by the state to sort of deflect the inclusion of democracy by women protesters. So let's have a conversation about this. Start sending in your questions, and I will see you in a bit as we get into that discussion. That marks the end of our daily news updates. Keep it Power Radio.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Calligraph Jones in the place. Grab it. Teamwork. Let's get it.
From outer space, out of this world.
We come in peace, tell your master all. We are taking over this place right now. But bring your crew, you can let them know. We in town, they should dress up for the show. We are bringing down this town tonight, oh. In an African party, we stomp our feet on the ground. We raise our hands in the air and say, hey, hey, hey. Luka, leo hatulali jo. Dunda, asubuhi mpaka kesho jo. Washanare madem na machali tu. Usijali hali mikono juu. Luka, leo hatulali jo. Dunda, asubuhi mpaka kesho jo. Washanare madem na machali tu. Usijali hali mikono juu.
Imagine, hivyo ndo muingianga kwa klabu aujasikia tunakula life na adabu na masela sela wana hela hela umenijazika hiu mase hela ni jui basi tela ni king kaka king of Zamunda tuko ndani na tumedunga kaka clothing we bado mtumba mina manager tuko tight anajua mini spend thrift meza drinks nimezipanga kama Tetris.
In an African party, we stomp our feet on the ground. We raise our hands in the air and say, hey, hey, hey. Luka, leo hatulali jo. Dunda, asubuhi mpaka kesho jo. Washanare madeni na machali tu. Usijali hali mikono juu. Luka, leo hatulali jo. Dunda, asubuhi mpaka kesho jo. Washanare madeni na machali tu. Usijali hali mikono juu.
Bro, check it, yow, I go like boom, 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 boom. Mikono kwa hewa nikifika tu kwa boom, 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 boom. As I be rolling when I be the cruise, so boom, boom, get out the way. I'm feeling like money today. I'm here to pour it up all over the club, I'm willing to pay, so that's how I plan to go and tap it. Hey y'all, feed what up, let's make it happen. I'm here to get it crackin'. Shorties are telling me that I'm attractive, cause they be feeling the swag, I'm classic. Call me Papa Jones, and that's it. That's it. I'm on.
Luka, leo hatulali jo. Dunda, asubuhi mpaka kesho jo. Washanare madem na machali tu. Usijali hali mikono juu. Luka, leo hatulali jo. Dunda, asubuhi mpaka kesho jo. Washanare madem na machali tu. Usijali hali mikono juu. Luka,
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night.
Power Radio.
This is Hendrik Sam.
hekima mdomoni mwake na uzuri wake wasambaza kote. Heshima kwake ni msingi, akiipeana apewa kwa wingi. Kusu kusu kusu, wivu na wivu, jamaa yake mwendo wake. Kusu kusu kusu, wivu na wivu, jamaa yake manzi wa maana.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night.
Power Radio.
Alrighty, welcome back. That is Fee Manziwa Maana, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show with me and Wanyoike. Today we are going to be looking at gendered violence and its impediments on democratic progress, and most especially for the democratic inclusion for women. Now, the background of this is we saw during the June 25th memorial protest, goons actually hired by the state, reportedly. Unfortunately, I have to use the word reportedly and allegedly because lawsuits actually raped women, sexually assaulted women protesters who had gone out there to the streets to fight for their right. And of course, this is a conversation that we can't just move on. In a country where femicide is the order of the day, in a country where just outright blatant violations against women is the order of the day. And why we are having this conversation is so that we can, first of all, understand what are some of the social and structural and systemic issues around this issue of violence. And so to help us contextualize this and make sense of this, we are joined by advocate Ebby Mokaya. I'll allow her to introduce herself and tell us what exactly she is about, and then we can get into our conversation. Good morning, Ebby.
Good morning.
How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I was just laughing in the waiting room. You calling me a gender specialist? I'm like, hey,
we have decided.
They have decided,
right?
But and weirdly enough, I really don't even introduce myself as an advocate in the first place.
Okay.
But
how do you introduce yourself?
My name is Ebby Mokaya. Ebby Kemuntu Mokaya.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a lawyer, I am a creative, I am a writer.
Okay.
By creative, it means I participate in a lot of artistic things. So
right.
I sing, I write.
Yeah.
So I'll share with you where you can find all those things. Awesome. But I'm also a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I currently work in corporate commercial law, but I worked in family law for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I participate and contribute to gender conversations just as that's the community work that I do, just because I think I studied gender in the law when I was doing my law degree, and I just took an interest in, feminism and concepts of equality and equity. So it's just something that I've picked up, and I constantly opine on these things on like various platforms, and anybody who knows me. I'm also the founder of a feminist community called Kifuko Fuko that promotes like feminist literature and books written by women, mostly African, Black, and writers of color, just so that women have a chance to listen to the perspectives and read the perspectives of other women. And we just break down literature through a feminist lens, in the hopes of bolstering the ideologies of feminism among women, just so that we know how to stand up for ourselves and be about ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So before we even talk about gendered violence, and of course, what was your first? Okay, we will talk about your initial reaction. Let's define some terms here.
Yes.
When we talk about weaponization of sexual assault, it's particularly talking about how it impedes on the democratic inclusion of women, because that is what we saw last week. And when also we talk about gendered violence, what are we referring to, and what are some of the forms that it takes up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just start by saying that in almost every country, women make up the largest population most of the time. Women are a large part, if not half. At least they're half the part of the population. And them being targeted in this context is very, very intentional. So when we talk about gendered violence is actually a very broad term that refers to violence against an individual because of their gender.
Right.
So any person of any gender can experience gendered violence. However, the way the society is set up, majority or the larger part of gendered violence is violence against women. So whether it is domestic violence, whether it is sexual violence, sexual assault, so a large part of that violence all over the world, actually, even in some countries that have like the most equal laws and policies for women, women are still experiencing violence gender-based violence, sexual violence. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
So more specifically, it is violence that is that inhibits an individual's right or ability to enjoy their rights. So whether that is it takes away your right to life, cases of femicide, it takes away, it subjects you to torture, so you have a right to be free from torture and cruelty. It inhibits your right of assembly, all those other things, because there are countries where women are not allowed to even associate. If you look at some of the things that have been happening in Afghanistan and with some of the more oppressive laws that have been coming up with the recent regime that's there.
Right.
So it inhibits your right to enjoy your rights as a human being. So that's what the impact or what it does. Yeah.
Right. This is definitely not unprecedented. It has definitely happened before.
It's been happening.
Yeah. What are some of the, I guess, key events politically that you've seen this happening?
I think the key events I feel is just all of human history.
All of human history?
One of the things that I find very curious is that every country, every continent, every space has the time to just oppress women and sit on them and hurt them. It's really so not fascinating, but it baffles me. I remain constantly flabbergasted. Because if you look at, let's say for instance, in Egypt, this was actually a case that was filed like during the Arab Spring, there was a lot of violence against women journalists, and they filed a case.
Yes.
If you, and this I know will trigger a lot of us, but in 2007, 2008, during the post-election violence, women experienced a lot of violence. And for anyone who would be interested in reading, it's a petition 122 of 2013. The judgment was actually just delivered quite recently, which also shows you how long it takes just to get some, just some justice, even some reparations. Not that I'm even sure you can get like what it will do for being raped and sexually assaulted. I don't even want to, I don't know if we should even be normalizing, we'll give you 5 million and you go your way. But those cases were filed in these forums because of violence against these specific women, these petitioners who brought these cases, with their main claims being that they experienced violence during these political situations. And specifically, actually, for the petition 122, it is women who are coming because it was the police and other state actors that were violating these women and or not giving them the assistance that they should have been afforded, or investigating the cases as they should have been, such that these women would have actually gotten the help that they needed.
Right.
And it's not just here, it is everywhere. Right now in Congo, I mean, it is as I said, it's so abysmal. Some of the things that the consistency, the only thing we have consistency in is hurting women. Sometimes that's what I feel like as a human race. That is our biggest consistency. And if I mean, what happened in Congo the other day when a prison burnt down, right? And imagine if anybody here grew up watching Prison Break. Those people were focused. You leave, you move out of Prison Break, your objective is to get out of jail. These people, they get out of jail instead of, kujishughulikia, the first thing that they do is they go to the women's section of the prison and they rape and kill women.
Right.
In the Sudan, I mean, at some point, the statistics coming out of there, and I'm sure there are a lot worse. And I really feel like those are situations that we really should keep our eye on, especially as Africans, just in solidarity, just keep those conversations going. Like in Sudan, there was a time where the statistics of women being raped every hour, women, children, girls, to the point where women are opting to take their own lives rather than face a situation of being raped or assaulted, And even historically, if you look out all through pre-independence Kenya, people who are freedom fighters, if you look at the fight against apartheid in South Africa, there are so many cases of women being sexually assaulted or sexual violence being used against women who, even just generally, not even the women who are at the forefront, and it's not anything that is new. And it is unfortunate that even now it is still going on. Like so many things have changed, things have progressed, but for some reason, as I said, the consistency is violence against women, assaulting women, weaponizing the machinery of the state against women for one reason or another.
Yeah. Indeed. I mean, the more things change, the more things remain the same, and we've constantly seen it. And which is what leads me to my next question. The question about patriarchy, right? All politics is patriarchal. Like at this point, we know it is very patriarchal. So, what are the or rather, how does patriarchal violence continue to propagate these narratives against women being the targets of anything that the state wants to do? Because we are easily targeted in whatever circumstance and in whatever circumstance.
Okay, so I think maybe let's just clarify a few terms. So patriarchy refers to a system where the leadership follows the line of men. Vis-a-vis matriarchy, where leadership inheritance follows the line of women. Now, patriarchy has become synonymous with misogyny. Misogyny being the hatred of women. So patriarchy as a system, whether it is a system of ownership, a system of politics, has aligned itself with oppressive systems, with oppressive ideologies, e.g. misogyny, even just cannibalistic capitalism, and all these other things, all these other isms that are just oppressive. So patriarchy has aligned itself with those things. That's why we often, put them together. So the system of patriarchy supports or is driven by or supported by misogyny, because and this means that a lot of times inherently what patriarchal norms support is anything that's not women. Like patriarchy and misogyny doesn't have a concept of masculinity or manhood.
Right.
Their concept is just don't be a woman. And that there is the basis for this thing we call umama. You know this thing when they say, oh, watch a umama, watch a umama.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Because for misogynists, for woman-hating culture, the worst thing you can be is a woman. And this thing is entrenched. It has been going on. I mean, in the Bible, there was a Pharisee praying and saying, thank God I'm not a woman. That's what the Pharisees used to pray.
That's true.
Thank God I'm not a woman.
And you see the infantilization of women as well. Like it's something that has going on.
You think women can't think for themselves. Right. Everything, anything associated with women. That is also what also drives hatred against other minority groups. People who are gender fluid, people who are queer, people who are what? Anybody who's not ascribing to the traditional binary, this is what men do, this is what women do.
Right.
It drives a certain hatred because the thing that is put on a pedestal is the masculine. But the problem is, the masculine is this hollow thing that's just made up of what is not the feminine. You see? So therein lies the problem. So patriarchy is supported by misogyny and just that woman-hating culture.
Right.
And this is something that I really tell people, like the far-reaching impact of misogyny as it stands is really something that should worry us a lot, especially because it's now getting to people because of the prevalence of the internet and we're in the digital age. The far-reaching impacts of misogyny are getting to age groups as young as 12, 10, you know. There are boys who are listening to podcasts by weirdos like Andrew Tate, and that other guy on Twitter who I won't name, the Kenyan one.
The Kenyan Andrew?
I won't name
Andrew Kibe. We will say.
There's Andrew Kibe, there's another one, Amerix.
Oh,
who's just like, you're just like my hashtag masculinity Saturday, and it's just the weirdest things, and you're like, hey guys, you know.
And now that we are there, digitally facilitated violence again, we could be using our social media for literally anything, but no, it's where the violence happens. And by the way, during the memorial, I saw a guy's tweet. I don't know, I haven't verified yet, but if this is the case, this is absolutely shameful that he tweeted that maze leo kuna kamoja nimerape.
Yeah, no, I think I also saw that.
You saw that,
well.
yes.
But
so just digitally facilitated violence to propagate assault, because that's what it is.
Let me actually suggest something to you.
Yes.
the violence against women during this period of Kenyans agitating for change began a long time ago. Even when we had started, anytime a Kenyan politician would do something that was not kosher, that was unconstitutional, people would begin posting pictures of whether it was the president, the vice president, whoever, in a wig, in a bikini,
right, in
a what?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
That is violence. That is where the violence begins. And that's the thing that we need to be able to identify. The violence is, by the time you're getting to rape and femicide, the violence has been going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in these spaces actually, where the danger about Twitter, or I refuse to call it X.
Yeah.
The danger about
Me
Twitter,
neither.
the danger about Twitter is you feel safe in your anonymity. You're hiding behind your username. You're hiding behind a hashtag. You're hiding behind, a facelessness. And that then pushes you, or it drives you to have the audacity to now unleash, some of your
true colors.
Your true colors,
Yeah.
to unleash some of your worst, thoughts. You show the worst side of yourself.
Yeah.
And the violence against women began a long time ago. Even especially when people like organizers like Hanifa, when she was, raising funds and things like that, whenever she would do something, the first people who would come and say, disparaging things against her would be men. And they would always find a way to degrade her, or speak about her in a way that is really just so abhorrent, right? And again, same thing. Anytime a woman would do something in these spaces, the response was always so aggressive.
Right. Yeah.
But for men, it's like, no, guys, Ebu understand him, just forgive him. He has mental health issues. Like men have the wildest rationalizations for each other's behavior.
Yeah.
And that is actually one of the hallmarks of misogyny and patriarchy.
That's right.
It's a boys' club.
Yeah.
It is boys for boys.
And male preservation.
Oh yes, they must preserve themselves.
Yeah.
They must uplift themselves. And, and then everything now becomes, no, it's a gender war, blah blah blah.
No, it's not.
Then they keep saying we must start, and this is the thing that gets me, when people, especially when this situation happened, right? I was able to attend a lot of the protests last year. This year I wasn't able to. So I was mostly following and raising awareness on Twitter and seeing some of the things when the reports started coming in that women are being assaulted, women are being raped, women are being what?
Yeah.
Honestly, I just had this sinking feeling in my stomach because I knew we were losing the plot. Obviously, because we have been, being distracted by this, people not recognizing that these struggles are connected, that the patriarchy must fall and bad governance must fall together. Because those things are
correlated. Yes,
they are interconnected.
Yeah.
And being unable to see that is is an indicator of how much bias your own internalized patriarchy has put in your own mind. Right?
Yeah.
And seeing some of the people saying, no, you guys, you feminazis, now you want to take over. This is not about you. Can we focus on? And I'm like, excuse me, please. We are not 2D cartoons. We can eat, chew gum, drink water, walk, drive at the same time.
Right.
Because if these things do not happen together, we are going nowhere and we have done nothing.
Right.
And that's the thing people need to understand. And the fact that women have to convince you that it is important to speak up against them being violated is already a problem. That you can gather your mouth to write or gather your fingers to type that no, it is not time, but at least no, me, I didn't rape, no. And that's the thing about this whole situation. And that's why I want to distinguish that thing of saying goons, because that again creates a dissociation. Yeah. So sorry, you said I have to say allegedly. Yeah?
Apparently,
apparently, it was goons, indeed, right? And that's the thing. The language is so important. I'm a writer as well. Language is so important. The way we name things, the way we say things matters. Yeah. So every time somebody defiles a child, what do? We dissociate it from men and we say monster. Every time somebody rapes, we dissociate it from men and say animal. Every time we dissociate it from men and say goon. Do you see the problem?
Yes.
Because it then creates this exclusive club, that especially when, and then even this situation of, let me just even bring it to things Kenyan relate to, because these are things that we discuss too much, Every time, your husband cheats, other men says, that's not a man, it's a boy. We remove men from their responsibility to be accountable, And the one thing that I really believe, resistance is communal work. Resistance is collective work. We must do this thing together.
Right.
We are not standing in a line as oppressed people of men first, then the women, then the children. We cannot do that. We will go nowhere. We don't have time. A lifetime is at best 75 years.
At best.
We don't have time to be standing in a line. At what point will we get to the women?
Yes.
Yeah, we must be horizontal. We must be next to each other,
Right.
walking together forward, chipping away at these oppressions. Yeah,
that's true.
We cannot be thinking, you stand behind us. Women have been standing behind everything. In some places, we're even behind dogs. And that cannot be the situation anymore,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We must be doing these things concurrently. So when we see a lot of these entrenched positions and the things people were saying around these things, it honestly really, really broke my heart. I'm not even going to lie. Like I was so tired, I just had to cry. I was like, this is wild. Like, we are going nowhere, because even if we do manage to, get in better governance for this country,
Right.
The energy around it is that men are waiting. They are pulling off the boot from the oppressor to wear it, so that now they can step on us some more. That's the energy. Yeah. And we really need to be careful about that.
Right.
We cannot just be switching the boot from one oppressor to another. The boot must be taken, torn apart, and put in a fire, so that everybody is walking on equal ground, on equal footing.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what we want. And just even so when I say like the digital violence began a long time ago with some of those,
Yeah.
that kind of anonymity, that kind of courage. And you see, the thing is, there's courage in numbers. There's a reason why a lot of, and this is so unfortunate, a lot of the instances and a lot of the incidences were gang rape.
Yes.
Because people feel like there is safety in numbers. And as I mentioned that I did family law for 2 years, and sometimes some of the work that I did, I also represented victims of rape, some of them victims of gang rape.
What?
And let me tell you, one of the reasons I also just moved to corporate is because
it was too much.
It takes a toll.
Right.
And that's me just interacting with the clients.
Yeah.
I have no
Experience.
concept of what it is that the victims are feeling. And there's some people think that people feel that there is a safety in numbers, and there's something that happens. It's called a crowd mentality, a mob mentality. There's someone, I don't know who says, when you see a group of people, you must take the person with the highest IQ, and then you divide the IQ by all of them, and that is the operating IQ for all of them at that time when they are acting in concert.
Right.
And you see this culture of ganging up on women, working together to abuse women, whether it's online, on Twitter, on Instagram, making lewd comments about their bodies, whether it's outside, you're catcalling women with your friends, wherever this behavior began in forms of language or expression, it will manifest, or it can manifest into working together to then exert physical harm against these women.
Right.
So these instances being of gang rape, they've been grooming themselves because they were already acting in that way, with that hive mentality.
Yeah.
So now the hive mentality manifests itself, and then, leads to them physically harming, raping, sexually assaulting women.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's what I'm saying. The violence was not on 25th.
It's something
the violence,
that has been...
it's been an undercurrent. And I think Kenyan feminists on Twitter have really been pointing it out and talking about how there's this undercurrent of misogyny and condescension against women that, has been lining this movement that actually just needs to be addressed, needs to stop.
Right.
Because, as I said, and I will keep reiterating, resistance, liberation is collective. If we don't all go, we are going nowhere.
And that point of if we don't all go, because I think consequently this is going to be a deflection from women to like
and it is intentional, by the way.
It's intentional.
The reason why the state did it is because they are counting. They are counting on misogyny to do its work.
Yes. So, we are in a conversation, our global conversation about the inclusion of women in democracy. Yet here comes this where they don't feel safe. They don't feel safe being in the streets. So obviously that is not going to get us anywhere. There's definitely going to be, I guess, what's the word? When there's a decrease, there's going to be a decline of women wanting to even ever be found picketing. It really sends a very bad precedent. And so my other question would be, what are the stipulations of the law? And I know there's so many barriers, like you've just stated right now, that some of these cases do take quite a long time before they can even before we can even open up files and stuff like that. So talk to us a little bit about what the law provisions are, specifically when it comes to sexual assault, because I've had cases of but we cannot, there's no evidence for rape. Where do we take that, right? What is happening within the legal sphere?
So I'll start by saying this. One thing that's really special about Kenya, I feel, is we have a lot of good laws. We have a lot of good laws. Like our constitution is a good constitution. In fact, our constitution, actually not even on paper, even in practice, that people are flouting the constitution does not take away from the fact that our constitution is legitimately really good. In fact, it is what is keeping us safe, to be quite honest. It is what is keeping us safe to the extent that we are safe, right?
To the extent
that we are safe. I must qualify. And when it comes to sexual offenses, I mean, we actually have, I don't want to say a barrage of laws, but we have a substantive number of laws. We have the Penal Code, of course, that proscribes against, sexual assault, rape, defilement. We also have the Sexual Offences Act. We have the Protection of Victims Act. So this one is actually relatively recent. Now this is the act that also just allowed for victims to be advocated for within these contexts of these cases. Because, the way a criminal case, it is the state that takes up the case. So they are the ones who will, quote unquote, be the claimant and they'll sue. So what the Victims Protection Act did, it allows that for the input of victims to be taken into account when the perpetrators are on trial. So whether they should receive bail, what kind of sentence, etc. So their views and their safety, witness protection and things like that. And then there's also the Protection Against Domestic Violence Acts, actually. And all these acts are there with those provisions, right? And they are they are punishments and there are things that should be done. I mean, if you commit sexual assault, it's either 5 years or a fine, which is really wild to me that you can pay your way out of, assaulting someone.
Really?
Rape is, 10 years or up to life. Gang rape is 15 years up to life and things like that. But this is the thing. By the time you need the law, the act has happened.
Right.
So to be quite honest, I don't think that should be our focus. Because the act has happened. And the thing about rape and a lot of these offenses, it is an invasion of your person.
No, truly.
It is an invasion of your person. I mean, is it not better to prevent it, because you cannot undo it, right? So the law is there is provisions and there's things like that, but now
it's not sufficient.
It's not sufficient, or because I'm not even saying it's not sufficient. The focus should be on prevention,
right?
The focus should be on prevention, and the prevention should not then be made the responsibility of the victim and or potential victim. It is always made the and let me tell you something. When it comes to being a woman, from the moment you are born to the moment you die, you are at risk of violence. Because there are people who defile 2-year-olds, 1-year-olds, 4-month-old babies, and there are people who rape 90-year-old women. So for the extension on the whole of your lifespan, you are consistently at risk, such that the question isn't even an if, It's almost when. Because if I'm not wrong, almost every woman has been sexually harassed. You have been catcalled.
Yeah.
Someone has touched you inappropriately.
You've been groped.
And that is the normalization of rape culture. That is the normalization of violation of women. That is the normalization of how women are dehumanized and objectified.
Right.
We have it so normalized.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that we have good laws that prescribe punishments, that because the ideology, the system supports a culture of violence against women.
Right.
The system, the laws, the behaviors, the culture, the religions support traditions or behaviors or practices that are violence against women.
Right.
So, I mean, the laws are there. It's okay. The cases are filed. It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but how then do we stop it? Which should be the, when people say, so how do we stop rape? You stop raping. It is actually that simple. So how do you prevent rape? Don't rape. It's actually that. Don't be a rapist. Don't rape people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is actually the solution, because for us to eliminate violence against women, people must stop violating women. It is not for us to put up walls or build fences or do what. Deterrence will only take us so far, because deterrence is a very low threshold, because it means there are people who have the audacity to not be deterred. So we must prevent. I think that should be our focus, right? And that's why for me, my focus, especially even in terms of my community work with feminism, focuses on the ideologies of equality and equity and addressing the sociological issues that entail, woman hating, misogyny, and whatever. That's where we need to be. This is how we kill that thing at the root.
Yeah.
We have to uproot it.
Right.
This thing of atilos is you're trying to treat something above the ground. This thing, we have to dig, pull it out.
Yeah.
That's what we need to address.
Right.
The laws are there. And the thing also, what I'd say is, especially I think from my conversations with a lot of my friends who work in these spaces, is there's not enough seriousness in terms of the support, in terms of supporting these laws. Like, as you said, the laws are on paper are good, right?
Yeah.
And if practiced correctly, would have some impact in giving the support needed. Because some of the things that are recommended is that, if somebody is a victim of sexual violence, if they have been raped, if they go to a police station, they shouldn't be giving their statement at the OB number at the desk at the reception. There should be a designated gender office in the police station for victims of gender-based violence to be giving their reports.
Right.
And we've had numerous stories, even since we were growing up till now, of women making reports about being beaten by their husbands and not being taken seriously, or those not being followed up.
Right.
A big part of the petition that I shared, 122, was that they reported those cases and their cases were not investigated seriously. They were not taken seriously. Yeah. Issues to do with, so Kenya is part of a convention called CEDAW, right? I don't know, I'm not good with acronyms per se, but it's a UN convention that is intended to eliminate violence against women. And in one of those recommendations, the state has made a commitment to work towards eliminating violence against women. This thing was signed in 1992.
We are talking over 30 years ago.
1992.
Yeah.
The femicide cases alone in this country, outside even of the protests.
Yes.
The defilement cases. Please, what are we doing? Because there is a role that the state needs to play in actively working to eliminate violence against women, which includes driving initiatives to change the ideologies.
Right.
And in this country, it feels like that work has been left to the NGOs. That work has been left to the NGOs, And the NGOs, to be honest, can only do so much.
Yeah.
They can only do so much.
Yes.
The state are the ones who have access. They have the machinery. They have the money. They have the access to the whole country to do it.
Yeah.
Because some of the disparities in responding to rape victims is that, like, the kind of support that you can get in Nairobi will not be the same kind of support you'll get in a rural town. Even within Nairobi, the kind of support that you will get in a police station in Kilimani is not the same support you will get in a police station in Kibera.
And you're alluding alluding to the intersectionality
Yes.
of, you know, whatever, whether it's politics, whether it's social
politics, whether it's your
justice.
economic class, whether it's what, like, there are so many things that are impacting men of different populations, but the consistency is whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're young, whether you're old, as a woman, you're at risk of being violated.
So what does justice look like then for at least the survivors and the victims? And also on the flip side, what does accountability look like for the perpetrators? Because it's a hard ask.
I have very, very strong positions about what should happen to people what should happen to rapists.
Do you want us to kill them? Because we can castrate them.
As I said, I have strong positions.
Okay. You want to plead the fifth on that one?
I have very, very strong positions about what should happen to rapists and what should happen to pedophiles and what should happen to abusers. I have very, very strong positions on that.
Yeah.
I don't think that is something that can be rehabilitated.
Okay.
I really genuinely do not think it's redeemable, and we should stop treating it as if it's redeemable. That's what I'll say on that. But just picking up on what you say, what does justice look like?
Yeah.
As I said, we need a seriousness from the state in terms of doing what they should be doing in terms of supporting victims. You know, even giving them counseling. Like there should be state-sponsored counseling for victims of rape. But as I said, for me, what is more important is preventing. The state should be actively working on programs, you know, to bolster the ideologies of equality and equity and, you know, and just addressing, you know, being able to identify what real issues are.
Yeah.
You know, like identify what real dangers are. You know, you people are banning the wrong movies, you know, but you allow people who have very extremist, misogynist views to continue speaking, and then you don't even, you know, police or rather you don't control the access that even boys as young as, you know, 10, 12 have to these things.
Yeah.
And you see, by the way, it is really problematic because the moment a boy becomes a misogynist, you've created a dangerous human being. You've created a very dangerous human being. That kind of culture of woman hating starting that young, it is so dangerous. And I wish people would understand how dangerous a woman hating or even any form of bias is towards the progress of misogyny. And for me, I'm one of those people who I really believe in intolerance. Intolerance to the extent of you need to ostracize people who just don't think properly.
Right.
And I'm so that's what I'm saying. So that this is the risk of you bringing me here. I have some very extreme views.
Right. Yeah.
You know, people who walk around thinking that, you know, as a woman, like, where do you get off saying such things?
Yeah.
You know, what processing are you doing through your frontal lobe? If at all there is processing going on, that you can say something like that with no concept, you know, no context, no experience whatsoever. You know, you find boys as young as 18, 19 saying, as a woman, you should. Me, my wife won't. Your wife, you have no money. You've not gone to school. You just left high school the other day. Mama yako ndio amekutumia pocket money, unasema me, my wife. You know, like what sort of entitlements are we giving boys just because they are boys? You know? And by the way, when I say that the normalization starts from very young, is because as a boy you're told, you just go whatever you want, do whatever you want to do, baba. And then your daughter, you tell her, when so and so comes in the house, make sure you cover up. Instead of you not bringing so and so into the house.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a problem with how we are socialized.
Exactly. It's a socialization. That's why I told you, like, this thing is a sociological issue.
It is. It is.
So you're socializing girls from that young age to be hyper vigilant, to be responsible for their own safety, and that's also some of the things that also can contribute to issues of guilt when women are assaulted and when women are raped. Because now, from the time you are young, you've been programmed to think that it is you who does something to keep yourself safe. And to be honest, for anybody who has ever been a victim of assault or rape, it is not your fault.
Right.
It is not your fault. It does not matter what you are wearing, what you are saying. You have every right to decide to have control and autonomy over your own body.
Yeah.
No.
How do we stop shifting the blame towards victim? Because, victim shaming is also something that is a big problem. And I don't know whether it's a cultural thing only.
It is a cultural thing, but as I said, said, the whole culture. One of the things about misogyny is, first of all, it glorifies men, and a lot of this, as I said, is entrenched in our cultures, our traditions, our religions, isn't it?
Right.
So I don't practice any religion. So, but I used to. I grew up in the church.
Okay.
And I've read the Bible end to end, and honestly, some of the things in there, like. So the husband is the head of the home. Why? On what merit? What did we assess this based on? What was the manifesto of men for them to be given this work?
Yeah.
Why must there be a head and there are two adults, I'm presuming, in this context? Like sort of those things where men are put on a pedestal for no reason, just by virtue of them being men.
Yeah.
So you create the entitlement from a young age. Then in some cultures where boys get circumcised, they stop doing certain things. So you have sisters serving their brothers. So they grow up with this entitlement of like, for some reason, I don't know why, I'm better than you. It is, by the way, it is completely unwarranted. It is completely unwarranted, right? There's actually even no need for that hierarchy, because what purpose does it serve? Ati I'm a leader, leading us to where? Tuko kwa nyumba. Where we live here. Where are you leading us to? Those are just also some of my positions. And you're touching things like you're telling girls, you must submit. You must, do what? You must be obedient. You're raising girls to be obedient. And then you're barely raising boys, So boys grow up with this sense of entitlement. And then when women get into to church, or they go for their bridal showers, and this is also consistent in all cultures, even regardless of the religion.
Yeah.
You go and you're told things, when your husband washes dishes, appreciate him. When your sijui does what? Appreciate him. Tell him. There's even a wild TikTok I saw when your husband takes a shower. I said, we are really in the pits, guys.
Yeah.
Like men get accolades for doing nothing, for breathing,
for showering,
for washing the dishes, for taking care of the kids. You're saying appreciate him, and he fathered those children or took responsibility for them.
Right.
And for women, the presumption is that you should be a good
That's
mother.
your work, yeah.
The presumption you should be a good wife. The presumption is you should be a good woman.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my goodness.
Yeah.
But for men, and then you see that's the thing that also supports, because all men, even the good ones, benefit from the actions of wicked men. Because the way the hierarchy and the patriarchal system has set it up is that because we have trained men to just be appreciated for bare minimum, so the good guys create this, as I said, dissociation from accountability. So they're like, no, me, I'm a good guy. Me, I don't rape. Are you sure that's the thing you want us to be clapping you for, that you don't rape?
Really? It's below the
you
barrel.
shouldn't be raping to begin with in the first place.
Yeah.
So, and that, again, that was some of the language that you were seeing around this commentary on June 25th. But there were some good guys there. So women, instead of focusing on speaking up on this issue, we must take the time to pat these other ones on the back. Okay, you're a good one. Okay, you're a good one. It's a waste of time.
It
deflects from the real issues. It takes away from what we need to be focusing on. I mean, self-affirm. If you're not a rapist, self-affirm. Wewe jiambie mimi sibaki watu.
Yeah. And what does male allyship look like? Because, a big chunk of my team were in the streets, and I heard stories that some of them were the ones who are taking these women to hospital, to get medical attention. And we have to talk about male allyship when we come to conversations about protection of women against gender violence, without it being seen like umama, because apparently some the boys club does not rate men who are stepping in to have conversations about that.
The system will fight them.
The system will fight them. But can we talk about male allyship and how that should be fostered, even as we talk about the democratic inclusion of women beyond the atrocious happenings that we witnessed in last week's memorial protests.
So I'll start by giving a story. back in the day, when you married a girl and you took her to your home, if you beat her and she came back to her family, her uncles and her brothers find out you beat her, they beat you. They come and beat you. So, as I said, relatively extreme views. Let me for the purposes of this conversation, we will say that I'm using this as a metaphor. I think men should just start beating up other men. Now, as I said, misogynist thought and things like this is a sociological issue. People are socialized like this, whether it's their culture, their religion, their traditions, they're socialized to be this way. We cannot intervene in a sociological problem with a legal solution. The solution must also include sociological interventions, meaning the culture must change from the inside, from the behavior, from how we behave. So the men who are of the persuasion, or which is the correct persuasion that women are human beings, which is basically what concepts of equality and feminism are, is that women are... So for the men who are convicted that women are human, what they need to do, there need to be sociological consequences for being a misogynist. And when I tell you about intolerance, that is what I mean. You must ostracize misogynists. Ostracize, yani you treat them like biblical lepers. And I'm not even metaphorical. That one I'm not being metaphorical. You must ostracize them, because what men do is, you know, your friend. I was about to curse. You know your friend is just a bottom barrel man. You know your friend beats his wife. You know your friend catcalls people in the club. You know, you have seen him do it and you keep quiet. In fact, you maintain interactions with them. That is what keeps this going, because they are welcome in your spaces. You know, human beings are social beings.
Right.
They will respond. In fact, I feel like there'll be a quicker response if we start just ostracizing these people. You know, the people used to put women in the wilderness when they're on their period. Send these men to the wilderness as if they are unclean. Because the way they think is unclean, even if it's a majority of people. And it needs to happen consistently, such that every time somebody even says anything misogynistic, you're like, hey, I draw the line at this. We cannot be in society anymore. You cannot access my spaces. You cannot access any benefits. They need to be ostracized. Those are the kind of sociological effects that need to be happening. So until they can investigate, you know, what is it that I'm doing? There has to be that kind of consequence. Because a lot of times men respond to consequences, but only if those consequences come from other men. Because
even then, it's not a guarantee.
It's not a guarantee. But you see, if we start removing their access to our spaces, our society, our what, we also help to protect any women who are around us. Because if you know your friend is a rapist, first of all, report him, please. He needs to be taken and put in. And then also, he should not be around your friends if you have female friends. You can. It can't be that, oh, don't be around this guy without me. No. Why have you not reported him? Like, you should not be in society with him. And then in addition to that, as I said, we need to start addressing this thing at the root, and even from the time that the boys are young. It's the way, the kind of mentorship and interaction that you're having with young boys needs to actually be beneficial to the extent that you're not teaching them or propagating ideologies that are misogynistic. Things like, as a man you can't, as a man you should, you know. Instead, fostering just boys who'll grow up into men who have empathy, who have whose first response to things is not violence or anger, but kindness and, you know, emotional intelligence and things like that. With men who have like good emotional regulation, who know how to talk about their feelings, who don't beat on women or beat on each other. You know, we also have to address that from the like, if you are a father of a boy, I mean, you better just disseminate like the right sort of ideologies. If you are a parent and you have girls and boys in your house, there should also be equality in that space. Because I grew up in a house where, I mean, the girls were donkeys and the boys were the ones on the donkeys.
Just, you
know?
yeah,
mnafanya kazi, you know? So there should be equality because, I mean, if the objective of being a parent is to raise a competent adult, everybody should be doing the things it takes to raise a competent adult. Everyone should be doing the chores, everyone should be washing clothes, everyone should be learning how to cook.
Right.
You know?
It's a survival
if
skill
you have
for everyone.
if you have a stomach and you get hungry, you need to know how to cook.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like those are some of the sociological interventions.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing that we can do at that level. But as I said, again, the state needs to get involved.
Yes.
In these initiatives. They need to get involved. Like, they need to put funding behind it. They need to support these programs. They need to support this. You know, the same way like people pushed the propaganda, alleged propaganda of the Harambee government. We were singing, those songs were singing on the radio every morning. People were programmed for Kanu. Yeah.
So
I
we
mean,
should
it's
program
not as we human beings are programmable. There is no culture
Very
that isn't
easily.
something that was programmed. You know?
Yeah.
It might take time. It will take time because, again, for us to have gotten where we have, for it to be so deeply entrenched, it has taken time.
Yes.
But the work just must start.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The state must be involved.
Yeah.
Parents must be involved. As you said, men who are allies must be involved. And worst come to us, just beat those other men. Like, you see somebody beat him.
Beat them. Go and beat them.
Go and beat him.
And
I say that as a metaphor.
Yes.
Metaphor.
Just to be
I don't
clear.
want to be quoted.
You don't want to be quoted.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, this is not a conversation that we can end in 1 hour,
I
but
know.
imagine we've come to the end of our show today. So even as we wrap up our conversation this morning, I mean, where do we go from here? What would your parting shot be? Your clarion call to men? And just the people of Kenya, man, because it's a collective thing we need to be on.
So I think, let me just start by, I think, addressing Kenyans. Just by saying, I'm so proud of us.
Yes.
I'm really so proud of us
that
we have come this far, that we speak up for ourselves, that we are well informed about what we deserve as a citizenry. That is really commendable for us. And I think just that attitude of what we deserve as a citizenry, the way you feel like you deserve as a citizen. Remember that women are citizens. The way you feel like you deserve to be safe, women deserve to be safe. We deserve to be safe against violence from the state and against violence from one another. We should not be, committing violence against each other, to be very honest.
Right,
We're doing this together. As I said, resistance is community work. This is collective. Standards are raised collectively. We must do it together, or we will not do it at all. So let's just have that mentality and keep that in mind. To men, don't rape. I don't have anything else to say.
Just that.
Don't rape.
Don't
that is
rape.
actually how easy it is.
Yes.
Don't rape.
It's as simple as that.
Even if she's naked in front, don't rape.
Right.
That's actually, don't be a rapist. That's all I have to say.
Wow. Before we wrap up, let me get a few comments from our viewers. Achieng Orero saying, such a great conversation. If one of us is oppressed, we are all oppressed. Until all of us are free, none of us are free. Thank you so much, Achieng, for your comments there, and also for choosing Power Morning Drive this morning. And then there's a comment by Ndinda Mutisia. She's saying facts, 100% agree with the sentiments there. Kemi, it's been such an absolute pleasure hosting you here. Please come back again.
Nialike nitakuja.
Utaja, sindio? You know you are Power Radio family for sure. Where can people get you?
I am on Instagram. So I have a lot of Instagrams because I think I'm part of a lot of things.
All right.
At Sunshine the Sunflower. On Twitter at I_am_Alizeti. I also run, as I said, a feminist community called Kifukufuku. It's also on Instagram. We also have a Substack by that same name.
Okay.
I think I'll also be able to just share the links with you if you'd be able to share them.
Yeah, we can
and
put
then
it on
anybody
our
who's
description.
interested. So for the reading group Kifukufuku, it is a limited community in that it is women only.
Okay.
However, our reading list will be shared. As a man, if you'd like to participate, feel very free to read the books.
Part of fostering this male allyship.
Feel free to read the books. and invite others to read the books with you and, try and read them through a feminist lens.
Right.
But yeah, that's where you can find me. I also write on my blog, ebbymokaya.wordpress.com.
Okay.
So as I said, I do a lot of creative things. And as I said, I'm also part of a band, 12 the band. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been quite stressful because we are talking about very heavy things for sure, but also insightful conversation. And I mean, I'm leaving here more hopeful than I came in, I have to say. But thank you so much for the privilege of your time and for the amazing work that you're doing. Continue, this we need more people like you.
Noisemakers.
We need noisemakers. We do. Yes, we need noisemakers. We need people that understand the power of language and public philosophy and public narratives, because anything that is to be found a solution for always starts as an idea, and it starts with a conversation. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you to each and every person that was able to tune in this morning for this very elated conversation. We will do this again next week, and I know next week tuko maandamano Sabasaba, tupatane kwa street. We might be doing a live show while we are on the street, but it's been an awesome honor for me to be with you guys this morning. Thank you so much to everybody. And before I let you go, let me put you on. Miss Caroline Murote comes in at 11 a.m. with Shiversation, so you definitely do not want to miss out on that conversation as well. Then later on, our reggae nerd, Miss Flozz, comes in with Ital Groove for all the niceness that comes from the land of Jamaica and the Caribbean. And so you definitely do want to kick in and usher in your weekend with some good reggae vibes. Bada mi sina la ziada. Have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I will see you when I see you. Goodbye for now.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Baby don't go. So baby don't cry.
Ladies, feel me.
Baby say my name.
Kunguru, Mr. Lenny.
Can you feel the pain?
I know that you're fed up. Sing along.
I will never let you down. I will never make you cry. I will never let you down. My girl, I will never make you cry.
Baby, fikiria kila siku mina kupara. Najua wanipenda sana, mbona unadai? I can see you fly, niko chini bado nitarai. Figa yako ndio mzuri sana, adhiambo. Wajua kupepesa, hizo siada. Dear Jesus, I never knew I met an angel. Baby girl, wange dongo nega heri. Lonyi lepi nyisadendi, tomona weri.
I will never let you down. I will never make you cry. I will never let you down. My girl, I will never make you cry.
Baby girl, you lovely, deadly, sexy girl. Jabe, don't touch me, kiss me, so ika. Najua wanipenda sana, mbona kweli wananyima hizo vitu we. Nyatini dongi ngena manyiga taheriga. Iyengo nagi kwalo na jaber. Njo nami, wange dongo tingo na gondeso na jaber.
I will never let you down. I will never make you cry. I will never let you down. My girl, I will never make you cry. So baby don't go. Never give up.
I know that you're fed up.
Won't you say yeah?
Aheriga, amaniga, aduariga.
Can you feel the pain?
I know, Mr. Lenny, sing along.
Kama wanipenda basi nionyeshe.
Nashindwa ni kwa nini kila siku tupigana.
Na kama unitaki basi niambie.
Nitafanya nini ama dunia ni hame?
Najua wanitaka, mbona wajifanya?
Mimi nakupenda anzia leo mpaka mwisho.
Wachana mambo zao, wanaona wivu.
Show me what your mama gave to you.
I will never let you down. I will never make you cry. I will never let you down. nipe